We really made it this point to move to New York City to be working and to be playing music and to be making connections and just to be out in the scene and just soaking it all up. It really was a smooth transition, and it felt so natural and so wonderful just to be out in that city and to feel that energy.
We all lived together. Zac lived in a room that was as big as a walk-in closet, basically.
Have you ever slept with the sounds of rats, the beautiful sounds of little creatures
Crawling in your walls,
running around
under your
you
bed.
at nighttime? He had a mouse that lived under his bed. At least I was thinking this because there's crumbs everywhere. And I was like, at one point I go to him, I go, Matt, there's a mouse living under your bed. Get it together. And Matt was getting kind of frustrated, and then this little mouse kind of ran out from under his bed. I go, that's the mouse, Matt.
Yeah. Eventually, I named him Ricky, and he was my resident pet.
We truly were the struggling artists who moved to the big city with no money, and we all worked these dead-end jobs that none of us were passionate about.
We couldn't afford a practice room. So we used to go into Matt's room, and he would set up these drums against the wall.
Yep.
And Zac would stand on Matt's bed and play guitar, and Dave would stand in the corner of Matt's room, and I'd have to stand out in the hallway and play guitar outside of that.
That is real. You can find pictures of that online, I'm pretty sure.
That's how we used to practice.
Yeah.
The neighbors were awesome. Their family members were all big fans of the band, and they were always just seeing the whole ride. So God, I remember hearing you guys just play till midnight. We couldn't sleep, but I'm really proud of you now. And they're really sweet.
Working with Shep he was our biggest mentor. I mean, he still is our biggest mentor. I mean, he's a guy that knows, he has a 360 view of this entire industry.
He was the first person to believe in us, especially when everybody was telling us we were gonna fail. He really took a chance on us, and he saw something in us, and we're really grateful to him. He's my spirit animal.
Me and my partner Aaron, we felt like they were overlooked. What makes this band unique is that there's actually 4 songwriters in this band. We'd start a song or work on one of their ideas, and they would go home, and then 2 days later be like, hey, I worked on it, I got a new verse, can we come up?
It was just so freeing and so fun, where it was like, hey, James found a banjo under his girlfriend's bed. Cool, no one plays it, but hey, wouldn't that be cool if this riff that I wrote on guitar was played on the banjo? Shep really brought this new light to our music, and that's when everything took off. Best Day of My Life and Believer, those were American Author's first 2 songs. Even though we did have all this extensive material and all this music from the past, those were really what American Authors are today.
Best Day of My Life, we wrote that, and it was a terrible time in our lives. It's
I remember we actually wrote that in the apartment. You and I were writing the lyrics. I remember laying on my bed, just with my hands like this, staring at my ceiling, and the music's just blaring through the speakers. And this guy is, he's walking around, he's pacing back and forth.
That's what I do.
And he just looks at me, and he comes up with the first lyrics. He just goes, I had a dream so big and loud. And that's what he said. And from there on, it was the jump off point. From there on, we were just sitting.
We wrote it in 5 minutes.
We wrote it in 5 minutes.
I had a dream so big and loud, I jumped so high, I touched the clouds.
The continued success of this song and the impact that Best Day of My Life and some of their other songs has made is the gift that keeps giving. Every day there's emails from people who have overcome things in their life, whether it was cancer or somebody dying or something terrible, that this song has made their lives better. We're constantly reminded of how lucky we all are and what an impact this song has made on people.
For us, we were always trying to think of new things to do with music and how to give back and how to keep it not only interesting for the fans, but also interesting and creative for us. Music education was such a big part in our lives growing up, and that's really what got us to this point, was we wanted to give back. So we recorded an album on our own, before anything really happened, and with the release of it, we decided to donate a portion of the proceeds to a foundation called Education Through Music. And what they do is they specialize in putting musical instruments and musical classrooms into underprivileged schools. We didn't just donate some money to the organization, but we also worked alongside them to go into some schools in New York City and surrounding boroughs and speak with the kids and play some music and get to know them. And I think that was just such a great thing and such a humbling experience.
We're growing every day. We lean on each other, learn from each other. It's like somebody is better at this than this. so that that other person will fill in the gap. Because we all have different tools at our disposal, which makes our songwriting so unique. Somebody said yesterday, you guys are an actual band. It was a charming thing to say, but it's kind of the truth. You don't really get to see that much these days.
It's almost like you do have this net and this support system behind you that keeps you going and keeps you going to the next level.
I think that there's only room to grow, and that's the beauty of being in this group.
State Farm celebrates great artists and the good neighbors back home who helped make them who they are today. Watch more artist stories at neighborhoodsessions.com.